Hey y'all, I'm back. I'm Mama Berry. I am the author of Foundations of Spirituality, a guide for the highly energetic, vigorously animated, exuberantly bustling brain, and the owner and operator of ThatMamaBerryLife.com, a spiritual learning community. You can find us on Facebook and you can check us out at ThatMamaBerryLife.com. There's also an intro video going more in depth about who I am and what I'm doing here, so feel free to check it out. I am, as always, accompanied by the baby birds. Shout out to Earl and Gray, who are extra loud tonight. Those are my baby blues. So I am back with video number 4 in the astrology series, and this video is called The Play. For our class series last year, I used several resources, but I leaned heavily on Chani Nichols' book. It's called You Were Born for This. It is such a good book, y'all. It's so good. It provides a foundation for astrology with lots of analogies and really straightforward examples. She breaks it down to us like we're 5 years old. And I always appreciate that type of communication. So I'll make sure to add links to it because I highly recommend that you buy it and read it if astrology is something you want to start learning. It's a really solid foundational book. In that book, the author offers an analogy that likens the natal chart to a play. And in class, I expanded upon that analogy to help understand the role of the various pieces in the natal chart. And that's what we're going to dig into here in this video. So the natal chart is the script. It gives us the blueprint of us. It gives us our story. The planets are likened to the characters in a play, bringing about specific conditions in our lives that impact our body, our mind, and our relationships. They can be main characters, they can be supporting characters, or a background actor, but they are in the play and they're doing something. The houses are like the scenes in the play. They rule over the specific areas of life. Each scene in a play has to take place somewhere. Each house tells us where that place is, whether it's in the public eye, in the home, inside of relationships with self or others, or in the world of money and worth, or other places. And then we have the signs. The signs are like the director. They offer structure and seasoning to each house or to each scene. They give our houses, the scene, the dynamics that allow them to come to life. As the director, they bring their vision, their version of seasoning to the scene, and they help everyone and everything inside of that scene work in cohesive alignment to express that vision, whether they want to or not. Yeah, y'all, I hear you. Sing it, Earl. Sing it. What you got to say? Okay, you're going to be quiet now, right? Okay, let's go. So, I created a sample natal chart using a random birth date, time, and location, just so that we have something tangible to work with. We're going to take that chart and apply the analogy I just shared to see how we can use astrology realistically. And so, in our sample chart, where the native was born at 3:37 p.m. on June 15, 1978 in Greenland. Don't ask me to pronounce the city or country or town in Greenland. It's just in Greenland. Our script, which is the natal chart, the blueprint, puts Mercury in our 9th house of Gemini. When we think about how our character will act, and our character is the planet, remember? In this case, Mercury, we want to think in broad strokes. Will it be a main character? Will it be a supporting character? Or will it simply hang out in the background, trying desperately to make itself known? In other words, how well can we get to know Mercury in this script? How much ease does he function with? How much oppression weighs him down? How much stage time will he really get? And will he want more or less than what is written in the script? These are questions that help us determine how well any one character or planet can function overall inside of the script, aka natal chart. Now, we can also find out where the scene is taking place or which house it's in. The 9th house, where Mercury is in this chart, deals with higher education, spirituality, philosophy, expansion, religion, deep thinking in the higher mind. Deals with truth, adventure, long distance travel. It's a place where we look for meaning and understanding. So whatever is happening in this scene, it's happening in a place that's likely associated with these areas of life, and our character will behave in alignment with what's expected in these locations. Finally, the director, the sign on the ninth house, which is Gemini, is going to tell everyone what the vision is, and they will express themselves through that vision or not at all. So let's translate all of that. We have the script in hand, and it puts the character of Mercury in the ninth house, ruled by the sign of Gemini. What does that mean? Well, Mercury is extra happy in Gemini. It naturally rules over Gemini in the zodiac. So, if that is where Mercury is when you are born, it is said to be in its house of domicile, and that makes it more powerful in the nativity. There's nothing stopping Mercury from being itself. It can go full throttle with no brakes, and that means that for our character in this particular play, Mercury is not going to be a background character. He's going to be the leading man. He's going to act out and act up, and he's going to step on all the toes of those larger, more important planets that think they're supposed to be the lead, like the sun or the rising sun. He's going to irritate the bigger planets that like to be in control, like Saturn. Depending on what else is going on in this chart, Mercury might just steal the whole show. And so we know how Mercury is going to act as a character in our play. He is not going to be quiet in Gemini. He will lead loudly. Mercury is also a planet that comes with his own characteristics. He rules over communication, intellect, and thought. He is the planet of information and how we share it, process it, and organize it. Mercury is the messenger of the gods. He rules over travel, technology, transportation, siblings, and commerce. And so, as a character, these are things Mercury will be extra excited about. While Mercury will act as a leading character, he will also be extra communicative about these things because his purpose is to communicate, and he loves them. He knows them. And even if he doesn't know some of the things all that well, he will share what he does know about them, because there's nothing stopping him in the house where he is king. When we ask where the scene is taking place, we recall that the ninth house deals with higher education, spirituality, philosophy, expansion, religion, deep thinking, and the higher mind, truth, adventure, long distance travel. It's a place where we look for meaning and understanding. So whatever is happening in this scene, in this house, it's happening in a place that's likely associated with these areas of our life, and the character is going to behave in alignment with what's expected in these locations, if that makes any sense. Even if the scene is not in a university or in a schoolroom or in a church or dissecting and analyzing the latest meditation session, the character of Mercury in this case will filter his experience through this lens. He can't do otherwise. In other words, Mercury is going to find a way to make your late night trip to Taco Bell spiritual. And it probably is, because you were probably hungover and high on life. Now, we have to ask this. Who is directing the character? Who is informing Mercury of the vision? We know that's the sign on the ninth house, which is Gemini. Gemini is, again, about the intellect. They're curious, social, and chatty. They communicate, and they do it at a fast pace. While they don't lean towards deeply emotional and intensely draining communications, they can be deeply profound and philosophical, but they are more deeply rooted in sharing information that they're curious about, and they're curious about everything. They can be restless. They are smart and witty, and if you can't keep up with them, they might get bored and jump to a new thing as soon as humanly possible. They are the twins, so there's a duality about them, and that lens helps them see the duality in the all. They can switch between being extroverted and fun or introverted and serious rather quickly. They're adaptable. As a character in this position, Mercury will likely talk a lot. He's going to be chatty, and you're going to need to keep up. So, are you seeing the consistent thread here? The communication, the talking. And that makes sense because Mercury is in his house of domicile. He's in the house that he rules over in the zodiac, so they're going to share characteristics. So, the sign of Gemini is directing this whole scene, and they are keeping the location of the scene, the ninth house, in mind. And they're making sure that the character, the planet Mercury, acts in alignment with their overall vision. In other words, the director is making sure all of the components express themselves through the sign that offers the vision, which in our case is the sign of Gemini. So let's put this into an actual scene. We're a bunch of 23-year-olds in the car at 2 a.m. after a night of hanging out and doing 23-year-old things. The shenanigans have left us hungry for absolutely inexplicable reasons. And so our crew has pulled through the Taco Bell drive-thru, and then they land at their friend's house to eat and crash, right? So the scene is supposed to be taking place in the ninth house of philosophy and spirituality and whatnot. But hanging in your buddy's apartment at 2 a.m. after hitting up the Taco Bell drive-thru is not exactly philosophical. Or is it?
Saturn.
What do you want, Mercury?
Taco. My taco has an image of God on it. We have to go back and get another one. I can't eat God. Also, my phone is dead. Let me borrow yours to take a photo. I'm going to sell tickets so people can visit the God Taco and be blessed.
No, Merc, man. Your phone is never charged. You always forget to give my phone back. Wait till you get home to take the photo. Yo, Saturn, man, let him use your phone. You're always so judgmental. He'll give it back. No, not happening. Let him use your phone.
Yeah, thanks, but no thanks, Jude. Your phone is trash. It wasn't even working last night. Can you even turn it on anymore?
Oh, yeah, I figured that out, man. You just gotta hold the power key on the top right side here, see? But you gotta push it at an angle, and it'll boot up. It works. Here.
Nah, dude, nah. Saturn! Come on, let me hold your phone real quick, and I'll let you grab the first blessing for free. You know you need that blessing because the car, it smells like sour milk and nightmares. If you help me, I bet we can get enough to get your car detailed. Yeah?
So here, we have the character, the planet of Mercury, unfettered in his ability to communicate at will about all things mercurial. The scene is set in the ninth house of philosophy and spirituality. So our character of Mercury doesn't just see a taco. He sees a God taco. The ninth house, you see, that's where Mercury lives. So everything he does will be flavored by that house. And just like that, the end result of hitting up the drive-thru of Taco Bell at 2 a.m. seems kind of philosophical, or religious, or spiritual, or something, because we aren't quite sure where it's going, right? But Mercury also rules over commerce. So it's no surprise that he's going to turn this little philosophical trip into a money-making opportunity and sell tickets. He's likely going to have to communicate widely, probably on social media, to drum up sales. But communication, that's what Mercury does, right? And technology, that's what Mercury rules, right? So we have Gemini in the ninth house, the sign directing the whole scene. And Gemini is also about communication with wit and adaptability. We see how it maneuvers the end result to get what they want, despite objections by Saturn. They're great communicators, so they're good at knowing how to communicate with others. Instead of fighting, begging, pleading, they just offer Saturn a deal and toss in a logical reason why they should accept it. Saturn isn't going to want to leave a free car detail on the table, and also, he doesn't want his car to smell like sour milk and nightmares. And that's the end of our scene. See how that goes? It's a really simple way to dissect the natal chart, but when we're just beginning, it's a great way to begin to understand how planets function inside of houses and how that directly impacts the native's behavior. And I want to just make a note here that whether you have planets inside of any given house or not, even if your house is empty, which I've seen translated a lot on social media as I don't have Gemini in my chart. I think people are trying to say I don't have any planets in Gemini in my chart. That does not mean it doesn't impact you. You do have Gemini in your chart, and Gemini is ruling over a house in your chart and probably other things that are tied to that house. So you want to be cautious about how you dismiss certain pieces of your nativity because they look like there's nothing going on there. I guarantee you there's something going on. They're ruling over something and it's impacting you. And that's intentional. It's by design. The natal chart helps us understand how the planets moving through our houses might impact our overall life events. With Mercury in the 9th house of philosophy and expansion, we can expect to see it express itself very differently than if it were in the 1st house of the self and body. Analyzing each planet in your natal chart this way helps us understand how we react and respond to the world, what challenges we need to overcome, and who we are meant to be. So that's all that I have for tonight. I hadn't planned on recording tonight, but I'm trying to move with a little less caution and be a little less nervous about things. So I decided last minute to just go because I had this one lesson ready. So I wanted to go on ahead and share it and edit it and post it, and now we've got it. So until next time, remember, find your passion, connect to your soul, and go and get your whole life. All the love, peoples, all the love.